Jinshi, the Magistrate of Jinzhou, is finally getting her first rerun, and with that comes her weapon, Ages of Harvest. So, is Jinshi's weapon worth it for you, or will her alternative weapons do the trick for you? I'll go over everything you need to consider, so let's get started. Jinshi's weapon, Ages of Harvest, has a base attack of 587 and a crit rate of 24.3%. Its effects also grant 12% attribute damage bonus, which is just an elemental damage bonus. In Jinshi's case, it's spectral damage, and also grants 48% resonant skill damage. According to Pridewin, Jinshi is a tier 0 DPS and has been since she was released. She's also a bit different than the others, being Camellia and Carlotta. Jinshi essentially does one big nuke damage with her skill and is done with her field time, whereas someone like Camellia and Carlotta have smaller nukes and a lot more AoE comparatively. And since Jinshi isn't as good in AoE, it's really important that she crits her nuke, or you might have to reset the run since you might have just lost 300,000 damage if you missed your crit, especially if it happens more than once. Unfortunately for me, I've been extremely unlucky with my Spectral set Echo rolls, so my Jinshi build is pretty bad. Additionally, I don't have her weapon, which has a crit rate stat on it, so I struggle to crit all of my nukes. I did, however, choose the Illustrious Razor Broadblade when I hit level 45, which is one of next best options though, but it's lacking in crit stats, especially crit rate. Lacking on crit rate on a character that does one main damage output can make them feel annoying to play, especially if you have to keep resetting. Take it from me, I would know firsthand. This is why I actually plan on picking up her weapon. So I actually recorded all this audio before her banner came out. Check my YouTube shorts if you want to see how my pulls went. Pretty crazy. But after getting it and only leveling it to 85 since I ran out of weapon XP, I'm now able to clear the second floor of the Hazard Tower, which is the middle one, with ease without Shorekeeper and with the 2 waves before the boss. Previously, there weren't any waves on the second floor, and then they added 1, and now there's 2. And with my poor build on Jinshi, it was difficult for me to clear without Shorekeeper on the second floor. I was able to just barely get it out on the first floor with Verena, but now it's super easy. And now I'm able to clear it actually faster on floor 2 with Verena than with Shorekeeper. I love playing Jinshi, and the quality of life I will get with her weapon is quite a bit. The extra damage will also be great, especially when I eventually get better echoes for her. Crit rate stats are really hard to get to a level that is comfortable without the help from a weapon. Currently, I have 69.2% crit rate with a main stat crit rate echo and 4 crit rate substat rolls. Additionally, I only have 3 crit damage rolls, and since my crit rate would be so low without a crit rate weapon, I have to use a crit rate main stat echo. Since I also don't have great crit damage rolls, my crit damage is also quite low. Even so, I still feel that my Jinshi team is stronger than my S0 R1 Camellia and S0 R1 Carlotta, who also have better stats than my S0 no signature weapon Jinshi. I think most other DPSs can get away without their signature weapons, but in a case like Jinshi's, where she only has one big hit, ensuring that she has enough crit rate is more important than any other character, which is why this is a time that I would actually recommend trying to get a signature weapon if you want to make the most out of Jinshi at least. A side note, if you pair her with Shorekeeper for the extra 12.5% crit rate, I'm confident that Jeji, as the sub DPS, makes this team the best in the game, at least in my experience. As I mentioned before, Jinshi still feels just as good as my S0 R1 main DPS characters without her signature weapon, so don't feel like you need to get it to make her feel good. She is a top tier DPS regardless, so if you want to look at her alternative weapons, let's take a quick look. In terms of the other 5-star Broadblades, there is a Illustrious Razor that I mentioned earlier that you can get for free by choosing it at level 45 or from the standard weapon banner. There is also Gion's signature weapon, but Jinshi will only benefit from the attribute damage bonus in the effect, so it's just a high basic attack crit damage stat stick for her. That is relatively even with the Illustrious Razor, which I haven't checked for myself, but I have used both on her and they don't feel that different. In terms of her 4-star weapon options, there still aren't that many in the game, but they're all pretty similar. The Autumn Freeze from the Battle Pass, however, isn't quite as great despite having a crit rate stat, since its effects for increasing attack require basic attack damage or heavy attack damage, which neither happen with Jinshi. Attack is quite good in this game, especially compared to crit stats, so you might as well just go for a gacha or craftable 4-star Broadblade that you don't have to pay for. You should be fine using whichever you have the highest refinements of. Besides the Discord, that is a supportive weapon. If I had to choose what I thought was the best one, I'd probably go with the Waning Red Shaft, since it has the easiest conditions to get the full effects and they will last plenty of time. The other options are still great, they just have more annoying conditions to proc the effects, so for quality of life, I'd probably go with the Waning Red Shaft, but don't let that discourage you from using the others. They're all relatively even. I hope this video has been helpful in helping you decide if Jinshi's weapon is worth it for you. I will be getting it personally since I really like playing Jinshi. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions, and like this video if you liked it, and subscribe for more. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.
Luminous energy. Insta painting. Art unveiled. Huh? Yeah. A new tech together we fight. Evil be cleansed.